Hello, welcome to another episode of Screen Peeking, where Ziggy and I get together and we talk about video games every week. And today
There's a lot to
is,
talk about this week.
yeah, a doozy of a. This has been a doozy of a week. I mean, there's so much to talk about. There's no way we're hitting an hour. We're going way over that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but I'm fine with that. Are you?
Oh yeah. No, this is gonna be a good episode. We got we got stuff to talk about. I never thought I would say. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. So yeah,
What stuff
it's
that
a
we can
big
talk
one.
about, or?
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, today we're going to talk about Microsoft buying ZeniMax slash Bethesda, Amazon's new streaming platform Luna, the Xbox Series S X or S and X pre-orders, and try to get to a little bit of talk about the Game Awards returning on December 10th and some near replicant opinions and excitement from Ziggy over there. He's so
Let's
excited. So
go. Let's go.
yeah. Let's start off though with Microsoft buying ZeniMax and
Yeah.
Bethesda all in one. Um, that
So
is
I woke up. This dropped on Monday, right? Or I think it was Monday, maybe Tuesday. But I
I
I
believe it
remember
was.
I woke up. I was like not even really awake. Like my glasses weren't even on yet. I like look at my phone and my friend texts me. He's like, Microsoft just bought Bethesda, like with a question mark. It's like I don't know what the fuck. Like I don't know where you got this from. Like this is clearly not true. I was like, this is weird. I don't know what kind of rumor this is, but and I like Googled it because I'm like, there's no way. Like that's not a thing. There's no way. And then I Googled it, and sure enough, like straight from Microsoft's blog, like they bought out ZeniMax. Like that. I just like put on my glasses. It took me like 3 times to read it to fully understand. It was like that. Okay, that's one way to start my day. And like the more like I thought about that whole day, just like what that means and
Hmm.
what that could be. Like it's crazy. I mean, it was legitimately one of those like where were you when you heard the news sort of things. Like
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
bizarre.
For me, like I was just up early as I usually am,
Hmm.
and I was just playing some Destiny. To just looked at my phone, saw it, and it didn't register at first. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, and then I kind of kept killing guys, and then it slowly started sinking in, and I'm thinking, wait a second, yeah, that's a, and I don't know why it took me that long, because like it took me probably 5 minutes before I
Yeah,
realized,
yeah.
wait a second, no, this, wait, they bought it. Like I didn't really like. I think I just default thought, oh, a deal was made, cool.
Hmm.
But then yeah, you
Hmm.
start thinking about how is this going to affect things? How is it going to affect Game Pass? How is it going to affect games being on PlayStation moving forward? How does it affect competitors like Stadia?
Hmm.
Things like
Oh
that.
God.
It's very 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 interesting. So like uh they bought him. They bought ZeniMax for $7.5 billion.
So
It's
insane.
a lot of cash. I make almost that though in a day, so it's chump change. But yeah, so I looked up a couple of other like game companies and like what they were purchased for, just to kind of get a comparison. I got like a range of purchase prices just to kind of go, okay, this is a good comparison here, because they got multiple studios. Like they got Arcane also, and among others, and like they got a great bunch of franchises with it.
Hmm.
So like that is awesome, and I think it is worth that price. But for example, Minecraft sold for 2.5 billion compared to the 7.5 billion that Bethesda ZeniMax sold for. BioWare purchased EA, or sorry, was purchased by EA for 775 million. All this was from Wikipedia. I don't know how 100% accurate this is, but Sony bought Insomniac for 229 million. So like just that, all those numbers there is just like those. I Insomniac's amazing,
Hmm.
but it's just
I
crazy
mean,
to
I
see
think.
they were sold for 229 million,
Hmm. I
and then
think the big difference here is that like, when you're buying BioWare or Insomniac, you're buying a studio and some IP,
mhm,
and that's just kind of it. But when you buy
mhm,
ZeniMax, like you're getting Bethesda, which is both the developer Bethesda, which has some of the biggest IP in the world. Like that's
mhm.
Elder Scrolls and Fallout are just like, I mean,
They're
Skyrim
huge.
still prints money. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
some of the biggest franchises in the world, and you have an amazing studio behind that. But you're also getting id. You have fucking Doom. Like Microsoft owns Doom. They have Arcane, which I mean, obviously isn't as much of like a money printer, but great games, like super awesome games to have in their library.
Their games are so
Um,
top notch. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
the sales numbers are not
I've heard
helpful.
people talking about it like, oh, Sony's still better, and I heard people like, Arcane, like Dishonored 2, that didn't really do anything, but it was like, well, no, that was like an amazing game. People call that one of the
Dishonored,
best stealth games ever made. Like,
yeah, Dishonored 2 is
that's like
one of
that's
my
really not
favorite
given
stealth
enough
games,
credit.
if not my favorite. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
seriously, and yeah, which on the topic of Arcane, it's still so fucking weird and funny to me that like a PS5 launch exclusive game is going to have Xbox Studios, I assume, as a splash screen in the beginning.
yes,
Like,
yes,
there's an Xbox published PlayStation exclusive game, and it's so weird. What a weird year.
100%, 100%. Yeah, you're gonna get home with your new PlayStation 5. You're going to open it up, turn it on, get your let's say, maybe, I guess it wouldn't be a day one, but you're gonna get Deathloop loaded up, and then see at some point, and then you're gonna see Microsoft Game Studios pop up on your screen, and like,
Or not
just think
Microsoft Game Studios anymore, Xbox Game Studios.
oh yeah,
That's
right.
what they
Sorry.
call it. That's what's
Good.
so funny
Yeah,
to me is the word Xbox is
yeah,
there. Like, not just Microsoft. It's, oh.
yeah. It's pretty crazy that they can just get in there, and that's gonna be awesome for them.
And
Um,
I think another part of what makes this so smart, I think, is I mean, obviously, like the Game Pass side, I would assume that's like what a lot of people thought of when they first heard about this. Um, but what's interesting to me is with Game Pass, kind of one of the ways that that'll be successful, is getting people in there and getting them to stay. More importantly, like you can get that first like $1 free month or whatever,
yeah.
and then you play what you want and then you leave. You can do that, or if it's something like for me, I will likely never unsubscribe because like that's where Forza Horizon 4 is for me. That's where like so many games that I keep playing and I'm still playing today are in there, and I don't want to lose access to those, or I don't want to lose access and then have to pay $60 to get them
Right.
back. And Bethesda is a company that's known for like 100+ hour games, like Fallout. I think one of my old teachers, he has like, oh man, like 700+ hours in Fallout 4. It's insane. Like people just pour hours and hours into those games.
Yeah, mods help.
And yeah, seriously. And those are games that people keep coming back to. So the Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever, or Starfield, like those are going to be games that people have and they don't want to lose, so they keep staying subscribed. Like I think having those really long games is smart. Or even something like Wasteland, like you can tell they've kind of been trying to do that. They have a lot of more, I mean, they have some like games of service type stuff, but also just long games, like really big meaty games that have a lot to give.
Yeah.
I think that's a super smart strategy, and then that kind of brings the other thing, which is, will these be exclusive? Will these just be on Game Pass? Will these be like only launch exclusives on Xbox and then they'll go to other platforms? Because obviously there's a lot of money to be made elsewhere, but at the same time, like Xbox could kind of flip the narrative on, or at least maybe if not flip, but make the narrative not nearly as black and white as it was, as far as like PlayStation has games, Xbox has value or whatever. Like,
So yeah,
now
I have a thought on that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, thinking about how they're going to move forward with their IP now, with owning Doom, owning Dishonored, and everything else moving forward, Skyrim, or sorry, Elder Scrolls. Like, I think what they'll do is keep the current games. Obviously, the games that are already out on PlayStation, they'll keep them out on PlayStation, right? But like, now that they have access to phones through xCloud, and they have access to a console and to PC, the only portion of gamers that they don't have access to is PlayStation. And while that is a big group, I don't think it's that big of a cut anymore when they have phones, computers, and consoles, and their portion of the consoles covered. So I think when I was first thinking about it, I'm like, well, it would be a good idea for them to sell their games on PlayStation still, because then they can make some money on that, try to get some of their money back that they spent on acquiring the studios. But at the same time, I think if you have everyone coming to Game Pass because it's only available there, or for them to buy the game like full price, you could do that on PlayStation, but I think that if you have it available on the phone, PC, and console, you don't really need to. I think that it does totally flip things, because if I only had a phone, I didn't have an Xbox, and I didn't have any other consoles at all, or maybe I just had a Switch, and I was like, I want to play some of these cool Xbox games, and I decided to pay for Game Pass to get it. Like, I think that's huge. I don't know. I just think that that's a big deal. And then I think that they will, like, I think that they've confirmed though actually by now that like Starfield and a lot of those games are going to be like exclusive to Xbox moving forward. I don't know if I think they said that it's more going to be like on a game by game case.
That's what I heard.
So I think though that's more of a situation where, oh, this game has a DLC coming out. Yeah, well, the game's already out on PlayStation. Or like, for example, Deathloop. I think Deathloop will stay as across all platforms, and I think all DLC will go to all the platforms, etc., etc. If there was a Deathloop 2, I think that would be an Xbox exclusive. That's what I think is going to happen. But yeah, if Elder Scrolls 6 ends up being an exclusive, that'd
be insane.
That
was a lot of Series S's.
That'll be mind blowing. I don't know if I don't know what kind of blowback that would cause though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you don't want negative, publicity either. But I think that would brush over. I think it would be like a lot of people upset, and then but maybe by the time that comes out, a lot of PlayStation owners already have an Xbox Series S or xCloud or something like that.
Yeah. I think part of what makes this good too is you can tell, like, Microsoft seems to be positioning the Xbox almost similar to Nintendo in the fact that it can very much be your second console. Like, you're a PlayStation gamer, but you have an Xbox Series X to play whatever's on there. Same way where I'm main on Xbox, but I have a Switch because I don't want to miss out on those games. Like, Switch
I think I was mentioning that last week.
Console. Yeah. So with Xbox as your second console, it makes it like, and having Bethesda, like having Elder Scrolls, having Fallout as exclusives on that platform makes it just even better as something like where people who are on PlayStation, they'll stay on PlayStation. Like, nothing's really going to change that. They know that ecosystem better, but they might get a Series S because it's cheap as hell, or they might even just like stream it if they really need to. But even then, like, the Series S is so cheap, like $25 a month if they need, and then you get in there, you can play all those games for $10 a month and you're fine. I think they're really trying to position themselves, in that like second space. What I think they'll do as far as exclusives go is I think for the most part it is going to be exclusive on their platform. I do definitely see the merit on publishing on other platforms. I think what they might do is on existing IP, so like Elder Scrolls, like Fallout, they will they'll have it just be a timed exclusive maybe, so it's on Xbox platform for a while and then it goes to PlayStation, but then you still have that value thing where if like, okay, you could pay $70 for it on PlayStation, or you could pay $10 a month and get it here plus a million other games, and I think that still is a good argument for you to come to Xbox for that.
I think
I
think you're right. I think that being able to have them, even if you'd had a month exclusive and then you got people to get Game Pass for a month, that would be actually better than most situations where it's like, oh, it's a month exclusive, but then you can just pay the same price to buy it somewhere else.
Yeah. And then I think for new IP, so something like Deathloop, obviously not Deathloop because that's taken, but like a new IP that a studio is making. So if it makes the next big thing in their new shooter IP or something, God, that'd be cool. I hope that happens, and I hope it's not Rage.
Me too, man.
I was like, oh, when's the last time they made a new IP? As I was saying, I'm like, oh yeah, they did, and it was bad. But yeah, so if they do something like that, I think that will be Xbox exclusive because there's less blowback for that. But for existing things, because with what Microsoft's done in the past, like with Minecraft, they bought them out and then kept that everywhere. Like Minecraft Dungeons, even though it's a new game, that's still launched on Switch and PlayStation and everywhere, which I think might be similar. Granted, Minecraft Dungeons was a way smaller game than something like Elder Scrolls 6, but
it's also it's an IP still of Minecraft that is established on all platforms. So
It's still one of the biggest IP in the world. So
it's still like the target audience for that game are people who like Minecraft, probably, right? Even though it does play differently, it's like, hey, you know Minecraft, you should try this game out. So you want it to be everywhere where people are already playing Minecraft.
um
I also wanted to say, unless you still have more to say
oh
about
no,
that.
you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stadia, in my opinion, is getting more irrelevant by the week. And I wrote that down before the next
Oh
topic.
gosh, yeah.
So before we get on to the next topic, just saying how um, Stadia is done. Actually, I'll talk about that more with the next topic. So one thing I wanted to say about this Microsoft acquiring Bethesda ZeniMax, before we go to the next thing, I really wanted to say the crossover potential is exciting to
Oh
me.
my gosh.
I don't think there'll be any ever like Doomslayer versus Master Chief thing, but I do
But
think
that'd be
that
so cool.
I do think that there's like all kinds of opportunities for skins or
Yeah,
heads
yeah.
or things like that, right? Or DLC themed around, like, I don't know, you could theoretically have uh a level or a DLC for Doom Eternal that has you fighting locusts instead of the demons, or something like that from locusts from Gears of War, right?
Or even like
or something like that, where it's like if you just wanted to, you could have,
or even like Doom Eternal has a lot of sort of like jokey or like fan servicey skins, so they could just have like a Master Chief skin in there as a
yeah,
promotion for like Halo Infinite or whatever.
or Halo Infinite could have guns themed around demons
Yeah,
and the
they could have like a
Doomslayer.
BFG like whatever, yeah, or super shotgun.
But yeah, I just think that's really a cool thought, and think I'm being a little closed-minded on that. I think there's some really cool ideas I haven't thought of.
Oh,
That
the
come from that.
Obsidian. Did you see the tweet with Obsidian and Fallout where someone
Hmm.
said something like, "Oh, like does this mean like a like New Vegas 2 could potentially be like a thing?" And they just
It's
had
a
like the shrug
little
emoji
shrug
back or
emoji.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which I mean, I don't really think that'll happen, but I mean, one can dream, you know. It's cool the potential that this has.
yeah. I don't think it'll happen either. But here's what I would do if I was in charge. Okay, I would pluck Fallout IP and be like, sorry, okay, Bethesda, you guys focus on Elder Scrolls and whatever else you want to do. We're gonna take Fallout. We're gonna give it to Obsidian and In Exile to work on. In Exile working on Wasteland 3. I am so in love with that game, and I just think they did such a great job. And maybe Obsidian doesn't need the help. Maybe just Obsidian does it, right? But between those two, I'm like, man, if they work together, forget about Bethesda, let them focus on Elder Scrolls, have less on their plate, just focus 100% on that. That's what I would want to do if I was in charge. I think that would be I think that'd just be Fallout would be an incredible game. There's no way that Obsidian or In Exile would mess that up. So
Yeah, seriously. I just want to see a Double Fine Doom game, if I'm being honest. I think that sounds incredible. I'm like half joking when I say that. I also think that would be insane, seeing like Tim Schafer's take on something like that. I don't know. It's just really exciting to me.
yeah,
I know there's been some rumors swirling around too about like Microsoft buying Sega next. I mean it's
I think
super
that's
thin,
more
so
hope, right?
well, there's been like some kind of conspiracy type stuff around it. I don't really necessarily buy into that idea, but I do think it's worth mentioning the fact that Microsoft buying one of like the big four publishers could be seen as a little concerning as far as like monopolies and taking all the market share goes, you know?
Hmm.
It like getting sort of into that like Disney type territory of like owning the competition. Um and I definitely don't think that they're there yet, but I do think it's something to maybe be aware of, like the fact that it could get to that point. I think if Microsoft did buy Sega and kept on buying publishers, I would start to get a little concerned. And the way that like Microsoft handles the
Right.
studios that they buy, luckily, is pretty like loose. Like from what
Pretty
I
hands
understand
off. Yeah.
from what I understand through like interviews and stuff from devs who got bought out, they say it's mostly just Microsoft says do what you like, keep doing what you're doing, but we benefit from it now. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it is still like something to be aware of. I'm still excited about it, but it hopefully it doesn't get out of hand.
I don't think it will, but we'll
No,
see.
me neither.
We
But
will
it's
see.
yeah,
Uh,
this could potentially be bad for the industry. but it's exciting for now.
It's very exciting for now. The next 5 years are going to be very cool.
Oh, it's gonna be insane.
I wish I was your age. Get an extra few years out of my life. So the next topic we have, that was only number 1. Number 2 is Amazon's new streaming platform, Luna. That like, I guess there was rumors about that before that I wasn't aware of, but for me, just hearing about it,
that kind of came out of the blue for me.
Yeah, it's like Amazon has a streaming platform. Basically, from what it sounds like, actually, let me go to see if I can find their website and see exactly what they said. You know what? I want to read everything. This is from The Verge. Andrew Webster on The Verge. And I'm just going to read a couple things that I see interesting on this article. Seems like there's an intro. Sorry, go ahead.
So so from what I understand of it, so it is, you pay to stream on it. I think you buy games piecemeal, right? It's not like a Game Pass type thing where you just pay and get games.
No, I think you do. I'll explain what I think it is. I've been thinking about it this morning. I think, from my understanding, you have Luna, which is the subscription. You'll pay $5.99 as the introductory price, as it's in early access phase. It gives subscribers the ability to play Luna Plus channel games across 2 devices simultaneously, and offers 4K/60 FPS resolution for select titles. Naturally, it'll be powered by AWS, Amazon's ubiquitous web platform. So from my understanding is it's like Stadia, but you don't buy the games a la carte. You actually you have the multiple games. So you have your streaming service, you click on the game, you can stream it, and you're playing it. So I have Luna, I can play, let's say, Control. I'm streaming it like as if you're playing through xCloud, right? And then if you want to add channels to it, I don't know if you have Amazon Prime or the Prime Video. Do you have that?
Yeah.
So you know how, like, when you go onto Amazon or onto Prime Video, you can like add channels
you can buy,
for an additional fee.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that, you can. I think you're gonna be able to buy. They use Ubisoft as an example, but I think you can buy. Say, I'm just making up this price here, but let's say you buy.
I think
Ubisoft
is the only channel they have right now.
The only one they have, confirmed right now. But let's say you buy Ubisoft for an additional $3. So I think that's on top of your current $5.99 a month introductory fee, and I think so. Then you're up to whatever, and then so you're paying a little bit more every month, but you're choosing which subscriptions you want. If you add, let's say, the Ubisoft one, you're gonna have the Ubisoft, whatever they called it, I don't remember, the Ubisoft version of Game Pass. You know, and you'll be able to play all those games day one when they launch. So my understanding is you're not downloading the games at all, and you are not buying the games individually. It is like Netflix or Game Pass, where you are getting a multitude, over 100 games or whatever to play, but this is something where you're only streaming it, not downloading it, and you have to buy each subscription separately, and they will all stack together into one monthly fee. So that's kind of my understanding of it. So very interesting.
I'm not really a fan of this, to be honest. I really, really dislike Amazon, like Amazon Prime Video and like Hulu, the way they have the whole channels thing, where you can only access stuff for like paying more for that channel. It just feels like old sort of like cable packages, and it's cheaper than that, obviously, but it still just like doesn't really sit well with me. Like, if I'm gonna pay for a subscription, I just kind of want that.
Yeah, it's not convenient.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people about this, and every single person, the first thing said was, "Oh, it's not gonna that's not gonna go anywhere." And I agree. Like, I think in a universe where xCloud exists, I don't really see room for companies with no experience in gaming to make something like this, especially when, like, you look at the launch games, so much of this seems like it's treading the same ground that Stadia did. I think one of the big issues with Stadia.
Okay, looks like we're back.
All right, yeah.
All right.
My internet went down. Sorry about that. I think
Yeah,
I
no
may have
worries.
heard thunder in the distance. So I don't know. We'll see. My internet's also just been horrible the last few days. I'm not sure what's up.
Well, we'll just try to get through it.
All
it's
right, yeah.
it's
Hopefully
something
that
that
doesn't happen again.
it just happens. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were talking about your opinion on Luna still, so why don't you continue that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't really know what it cut off, but essentially, I'm just not really a big fan of the way that channels work. I'm not really a fan of that in like Amazon Prime Video. That's kind of like why I don't use it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. It just reminds me of like old cable TV packages, and the way that worked. It like I don't know. I don't really think this will take off a ton. I think in a world with xCloud, like a company that has gaming experience and already has a ton of games on its platform, I think for someone to come new and like the launch lineup for this is pretty poor. It's like a lot of kind of mediocre older games. Like it has like the Panzer Dragoon remake, which
It's probably better than
was
Stadia though. Still,
very. Is it? I don't know. I think it's about the same. Like a lot of those games are like Xbox 360 games. It's so strange. I don't know. It just seems really mediocre. I think I could see it. Amazon has a history of actually like following through with a lot of their ideas a little more than Google does. So hopefully they actually do put some effort into this and make it something cool.
hmm
But that said, I mean, I really don't like Amazon's like video streaming platform, or not. I'm like in Prime Video. I mean, I like
hmm
Twitch, but that was also like Amazon did make that. They just bought it.
yeah.
But so I don't know. I'm not super like
I think
excited about this. But the one thing I am excited about, that controller looks slick. It looks
it
like
does.
it
It
looks like
does
a
look
Switch
good.
Pro controller, but with like that little purple accent. I like it.
100%. Yeah, no, that's a nice color scheme, and it does look like a pro controller for the Switch. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that I don't really like to think about any platform launching right now based off of the launch lineup, because
Mm-hmm.
that gets irrelevant pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they do things right,
Mm-hmm.
but like I think that for the potential of what it enables, like you theoretically you have any developer could create their own channel on there and provide all their games, and it gives them a solution to be able to have all their games on a streaming platform through
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't know all the details, but I do think it's interesting. I think it's more interesting than Stadia, but I think ultimately
Mm-hmm. I agree with
streaming, I
that.
think having the only option to be streaming a game isn't the best option. I think that's still where Xbox edges everyone
Mm-hmm.
out, and that you can download all your games or you can stream them. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the
100%
biggest
agree.
difference. But yeah.
Yeah, I really think the only person who can make a great competitor to xCloud is Sony. Like if they really do improve PS Now, because the system of having a streaming only platform just really never sits right with me. Like I don't want to invest in that because
Hmm.
it's even more than digital media, it's just so loose. And for something like movies, it's fine because it's just kind of a watch it once and you're done sort of deal. But with games where it is much longer experiences, much more like, I mean, it's interactive obviously and it's more experience driven. So like if the
Hmm.
experience isn't perfect, it kind of lessens it as a whole. Whereas if I watch a movie and it's maybe buffering a bit, like it's annoying, but it like unless it's, I mean, some movies it definitely does take away, but like you still sort of get the gist.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll do some really cool things for it. At the point that it is now, I'm not that excited. Also, Amazon's history with gaming is pretty iffy. Like the last game they made, was it called Crucible or something? Was terrible. It was horrible. And I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want to base this off that because obviously they have good experience with streaming
Yeah, that
somewhat.
one got
And
shot right
also,
back into
AWS is a,
beta.
yeah, no, they did. They put it right back into private beta. But AWS, I think, is a good system to base it off of. Like, obviously, there's a ton. That's like those are good servers. Um, but yeah, I think it doesn't really change much for me the way that I look at the industry. It's interesting having more people trying to make a stance in that space, but I don't know how much it's gonna do. But I mean, I'm excited if it does take off and becomes really cool. I mean, great for them.
Yeah, everyone wants a piece of that pie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that they're tying it into the Twitch brand too. I think that's smart.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's where I think it's interesting. The potential for this is actually pretty big if they can integrate
Mm-hmm.
it with Twitch in the right way. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's for them to figure out, not me.
I mean, moving into Twitch is smart too, just because of how, um, I mean, streaming really dominates gaming right now. Like, look at Fall Guys and
hmm
Among Us, like two of the
hmm
biggest games in the last few months. Those were only
hmm
big because of streaming. Like, if Among Us didn't randomly, like, that's a 2 year old game, and then a bunch of people started streaming it, and it suddenly caught on like wildfire. Like, Fall Guys had a little bit more hype behind it, but it only became the megaton success that it was because of streaming. Like, there's
Yep.
so much power behind that, and so for Amazon to try to latch onto that power for its own service, I think is pretty smart. I think that's kind of what Microsoft was trying to do with Mixer, but obviously Mixer didn't take off in any meaningful capacity, so
Yeah.
that didn't really pan out. But yeah, I think that's a smart strategy.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
see.
it's going to be really cool to see what happens with Twitch and all the games that start coming out
Mm-hmm.
to become a hit, right? Like I think you need three
Mm-hmm.
main things when it comes to like a hit for Twitch. You need to have something that's attractive that catches someone's eyes, something that's different that also helps,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you need to have possibilities of what can happen, right? You need to
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah, you need
a
that good emergent
situation where like
gameplay.
anything can happen, right? And that's why I think
Mm-hmm.
people watch sports, right? You have so many players, so many things that can happen. So everyone can choose their own, have their own decision, do their own thing. And why like battle royales have become huge. You have like
Mm-hmm.
all these games where all these characters can do their own thing. There's all these options, and you no match is gonna like play out the same way twice, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like that's all you really need to be hit, and then you need to advertise it right, obviously. But I think that's like really cool to. It'll be interesting to see what kind of games come out because like I have so many ideas, but I'm not a game developer, so
Yeah, yeah,
like I can't
yeah.
make these things happen. But you could do something wacky, like where you're just making stuff up on the spot. Like, okay, how about we create a system where we can manipulate the ground anytime we want. So
Mm-hmm.
and it's a battle royale where you're falling and all of a sudden that chunk of land just becomes a big crater. And then I don't know, flaming balls of fire are coming from the sky, but when they land, they create lava. And then the lava has little chunks of rock that are floating, and you have to jump across that while fighting other people. Then there's wind that's blowing, and you can't jump across the rock without the wind blowing you off. And I don't know, like things like that. You could
Yeah,
have like
yeah.
integrations with people watching, and you just start getting creative with like anything can happen, and it becomes fun to watch,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, Nick tangent.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you been playing Among Us?
no,
Quick side
I've
note.
never played it. I heard about it
Oh, it's fun.
from a coworker. He made it sound interesting, but
I think it's I think it's like I know people have been trying to call it like game of the year and stuff. I do not agree with that. I think it's a fine game. I think its biggest accomplishment is just how simple it is. Like it's I think games have done what it's doing better before. Like Town of Salem's good. I mean, Gary's Mod Trouble in Terrorist Town really is like the ultimate of that experience. Um, and but I think those games are just so complicated, and Among Us you can pick up in like 2 seconds. Like
mm,
my mom could probably play it if she wanted to, you know. Um, and I think that's kind of why it caught on like wildfire, like it did. Um, but I don't know, it's fun if you have people to play it with. It's good. My only complaint, it's broken as hell. It is really busted. Like the game crashes every 2 seconds for me. Um, but I don't know. It's a good time.
and they canceled the sequel, didn't they? So they can focus on
Yeah, yeah.
that the first one.
Yeah. I kind of wish they made a sequel just because there's so much like fundamental stuff with that game that I wish was different, you know.
Mm,
Um but I'm also happy that they're just continuing the first one. I think it's good.
cool. Um, the Xbox Series S and X also had pre-orders within the last week. I have not pre-ordered either one. I have no plans on pre-ordering. I plan on eventually just going in and doing Xbox All Access and paying per month to include Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and
Mhm.
a little bit extra to pay off the console. I'm just going to get a Series S because that's all I really need, and I think it'll be a good one
Mhm.
to get. But what about you? What are you planning on doing? And it seems like the website's all crashed. And
Yeah, no,
oh,
that was
actually,
a
that's something I
mess.
wanted to say is that before the pre-orders went live, everyone was talking about how PlayStation's pre-orders sucked. Like they everything didn't work. A ton of people missed out. Now, okay, eyes are on Xbox. Xbox goes out and is like, hey, we're gonna give you the time and we're gonna tell you the day. And then there's people who like that, people who don't. And then before the pre-orders even went live, I was like, 100%, there's only going to be negative news about this. There's no way there's a positive.
No, yeah.
You could have
I mean, that's just kind of how pre-orders work. Yeah.
Exactly. There's no way you could have 100,000 people be like, I got the system. No one's going to give a shit. They're going to be like,
no,
great,
yeah.
that's fine. I didn't. And you're always going to have way more people who want it, who don't get it, than people who want it and do get it. Like there's not enough systems to provide for everyone in the world. You have to err on the side of caution, make the demand exciting and all that stuff. But I was like, it's either they're going to sell out and people are going to say, or it's going to be like really crazy and the site's going to crash and they're going to sell out and people are going to be like, wow, they didn't have enough systems. Like we didn't, you couldn't provide for everyone, da da da. Or there's going to be enough and there'll be some left over after everyone orders and they're going to be like, wow, they still had some systems left over. Oh, it took them like an hour to sell through them. So no one wanted the
Honestly,
system. It's going to be one or the other.
So the stock seemed to kind of be the least of the issues with this. Like, I know a lot of the people who wanted to pre-order got one. Obviously, not everybody. And I do think this went way better than PlayStation's, to be honest.
I agree.
Because it happened when they said it would happen. People could prepare for this shit show that would occur.
Yes.
And people knew it would be a shit show. Like, that's just kind of how these things work. I think the internet itself just wasn't prepared. Like immediately, I was just on my phone. I wasn't trying too hard. I was kind of wanting to get a Series X, but honestly, I'm probably just gonna wait until like stock goes up later because I'm not desperate to get a pre-order right now. But I was on my phone. I was checking it out, and like 8 o'clock hit, and it just instantly every site went down. Like just instantly. I think the only one that was fine for me was Walmart. But I didn't get there in time. And then Amazon, like a couple of websites waited like an hour to put theirs up, which I think is kind of smart. So there was stock going up for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's as expected. I think Sony's big bungle wasn't as much of the fact that there wasn't stock and sites crashed. I think it was just the fact that it was so random. Like if you weren't paying attention to Twitter, you missed out pretty much. Which is really unfortunate, but yeah, I'm glad to see Microsoft found a slightly better system, but it's not surprising to me that it was a bit of a mess.
The biggest difference was one company gave wrong information and one company gave accurate information on when it was going to be available.
I don't know if it was as simple as like Sony giving wrong information as much as the retailers just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but
from what I heard, like retailers just going to like, we're going anyway, and then like one retailer went and the other's like, okay, guess we're going, and then followed suit.
Yeah, but that's no different than me saying, oh yeah, Ziggy will be here for 2:30, and then you're just not there for 2:30. Be like, okay, well next set he would be like, I don't know. That's no different than that, and I feel like that's still on me to not be able to confirm with you, hey. Like you're gonna be here for 2:30, right?
Yeah, it is Sony's responsibility for that. Like from what I understand, Microsoft made threats to distributors. Like if you put these out early, like we can just not give you stock. Like that's like if you're gonna screw us over, like we can screw you over, which is fair. Like Sony probably should have done the same thing. But yeah, it's not super insane to me.
I think something that is interesting, and I don't know how accurate or realistic this is, but it could be a thing, is like it's been 6 or 7 years since the last console generation came out, right? It's a whole new generation. It's a whole new generation of gamers that are prepared to know about pre-ordering online and stuff. And like even 7 years ago, that was still not like a lot of people would still go into the store. We have COVID going on right now. We have a lot of people familiar, a lot more people familiar with ordering online, with being able to purchase stuff really quick, understanding how that works, being able to prepare for how a console generation goes, how you need to save up for the consoles, whatever you need to do. And like for shipping, and like people buy stuff on Amazon all the time. Like that stuff isn't as weird or different as it was 7 years ago, right? And I think that having that extra generation of people who are all ready for that and who also haven't experienced, say, 7 years ago. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know like where a lot of these people who are maybe buying these consoles day one, I don't know where they were 7 years ago. Maybe they weren't familiar with
I mean, I
consoles.
was 11 when the Xbox One
Yeah,
launched.
like I
so,
doubt you were
like,
sitting there refreshing the
no.
webpage,
This is
for
my
when
first
that
pre-ordered console.
exactly. So I think there's like a lot of people your age or even younger who could be like, oh, I'm jumping on this, and then they react on Twitter and go like, oh, this is ridiculous, all these sites crashed and da da da. Like, they don't understand, right? They're a whole new generation who's maybe like not as familiar like you are, but there's a lot of people I think around like that maybe this is their first time and they just have no clue what to expect and they just think it's going to be smooth. But I think it's just interesting as a whole, like every generation is going to be a bunch of extra people that are more familiar with this kind of situation. Right. So pre-orders need to change. That needs to, I don't know what the solution is, but there needs to be a way to fix that. Let me register now for the next system. I'll be in the lineup right now. I wanted to say something about the Xbox All Access. So that's I don't remember how much it is, and I don't know what it's going to be in Canada. It's different. But basically, we'll just, for the argument's sake, we're going to say $25 a month, and you're getting an Xbox Series S. You're going to walk away from the store with it, and you're going to be paying that much per month to have Game Pass Ultimate and the console for 2 years. And I just wanted to quickly say that I was thinking about it and thinking like, is it like, why is it 2 years? And why do they want it to be that? Is it to match phones possibly? Or is it because that maybe they'll have like a console refresh, like how they have the PlayStation 4 Pro and they have the Xbox One X? Are they going to do something like that in 2 years? And then that'll be their incentive to go, well, stay on this Xbox All Access plan. You can upgrade to the new console, do it for another 2 years, right? And you just keep doing that. That was just something I wanted to, like, I was thinking of, like, oh, that could be a way for them to keep this going too for two years. So you're basically paying a little bit more than just Game Pass Ultimate per month for 2 years to own your stuff, kind of like what you do with your phone. But I just thought that was
to be honest,
interesting thought.
2 years. I feel like 2 years is probably just like the maximum amount of the time that they thought people would be willing to commit to something like that. It definitely could. I feel like 2 years is a little bit too soon for a console refresh. I could see maybe in like 3, maybe a little bit more. I
think 3 or 4 would be normal, but I think 2 isn't ridiculous.
As I was saying 3, I was trying to think like, well, I mean, consoles are kind of moving away from the traditional 7-year cycle, so it's hard to say, but I still think 2 years might be a little bit short, but yeah, no, that's an interesting thing. I definitely think there will be a new Xbox sometime in the next 3 years.
When did the Xbox One X come out, Zig?
That was 2017, right?
Was it?
2018?
I don't remember. I
think
feel like
it was around there.
Gonna find out. Xbox Series X. Whoops, not Series X. What am I doing? Oh, good. I've already defaulted to the new terms. Launch date. Yeah, November 7th, 2017. Okay, so nice. 3 years ago. So yeah, maybe it'll be 3 years for a console refresh. But I was just trying to think of like how quickly are they pumping it? Because like they had a Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and then they have Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, and like all these things. And I'm thinking, how often are they pumping these out? Because maybe they will go to 2 years after this. Maybe they have a way of manufacturing. They're like, hey, we're gonna keep this like box design. We're gonna reuse some parts, whatever they want to do. But
go for the phone model or something.
Yeah, exactly. This one has a better screen. The PlayStation's controller just like, this one vibrates more.
Just like you feel under like your elbows.
You feel it in your pelvis.
God, it's the whole haptic suit DualSense.
Oh man. Okay, so number 4 on our list here is the Game Awards are returning December 10th. I'm excited for that. I always enjoy watching that show. It's always a fun time to
that's my favorite show here.
come together as gamers and just be excited to see what kind of I always watch it for the trailers. I think it's cool to see people get awards, and especially when they get emotional and you can tell it means a lot to them. I think that's really really cool to watch, and nice to see people get, you know, some recognition, especially the smaller teams that like you might not have heard of, like you were talking about last week, Disco Elysium. It got some publicity from that. I know it didn't get as much as you were saying like it deserves. And I would agree. Even without playing it, I was like, man, this game sounds incredible. I've read a lot of reviews. This sounds like an amazing game. Why am I not hearing about it more? But I think it's just because this world's all about talking about multiplayer games now. It's not a multiplayer game, it's a single player game. So but yeah, what are your thoughts on the Game Awards? Are you excited for it?
Yeah, I love the Game Awards, man. It's just so nice as like a community event for the whole, like, the industry as a whole, not just because, you know, most community events are like, here's the Xbox community event or the whatever community event, like it's more specific usually, but have something that is just all encompassing, like where you can have the big three heads all standing together and everyone presenting what they have. Like, it's just this really fun industry-wide event, and the awards I actually do really enjoy. I don't get super wrapped up in awards, but I still think it's fun, especially seeing like smaller devs win awards. Like you're saying, like just seeing devs go up there and cry and stuff. It's always just fun to watch. I'm probably gonna stream that this year, but it's
Same.
it's probably my favorite event of the year. E3 I liked, but it definitely is more like more cynical, I guess. Like it is definitely a little bit more of that like I mean, this is definitely just marketing too, but it feels more like marketing at E3.
E3 is more of a dick measuring competition.
Yeah. This is more of just
a
like
celebration.
look how cool video games are. Like look how dope this industry is, and I love that. So yeah, I'm excited. Have they set the cutoff date yet for games? Because it's interesting to see which games will get like,
I don't
screwed
believe
over this
so.
year.
Once more details come out, I definitely want to talk about this more with you, because because I also want to like kind of pick your brain off the video and just like what we might want to do with this weekly show moving forward as the Game Awards come up and Game of the Year and all these other little awards and stuff. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on that. Game Awards coming back December 10th. That's exciting. I booked time off work, so I'll be available for streaming, or maybe we can do something together. We can talk about that. But yeah, I definitely want to watch it because that's always a fun time.
Yeah, seriously. I remember, gosh, what was that, Game Awards 2018? That was like one of my favorites because I remember Smash Bros. Ultimate launched right as that ended. And that is still like one of my most hyped games of all time. Like, that was insane for me. I was so hyped for that. And oh no.
What? We're good.
Oh, I'm back. Good.
We're good.
Okay. I froze.
Where did I go?
But Smash Ultimate was like one of my most hyped games, and having that come out like right when that was over, and they had like the Joker DLC reveal. That was so cool.
Yeah, that was so good, man.
So insane.
It was incredible.
Having the Joker and then talking about it the whole time, hyping up like, right when this is over, you can play, and just like, I think I had like school the next day, so I didn't want to stay up like super late, and it was already like midnight or 1 by the time it ended or something. Like, it was pretty late, but I'm like, no, I have to play this fucking game. Like, I have to play Smash right now. So I played like an hour. If it's like, okay, I'm done, going to bed. And then the next day at school, I played it like through all my classes under the desk because I was obsessed with it. But yeah, that was just such a hype year. But it's always a fun show. I'm definitely interested to see the cutoff because I know Cyberpunk was right around there, and if they cut that one off for the awards, that'll definitely be interesting.
They won't cut it out.
I don't think they will. No, I feel like they'll probably schedule the cutoff around Cyberpunk.
They know how much like there's no way they want to deal with that. But like, I'm too tired.
There'd be so much backlash.
I'm too tired from setting up this whole event. I don't want to deal with all these people being upset about Cyberpunk. But yeah, there's no way. I like. One of the things I was thinking about though is that I guess Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from last year, it missed the cutoff, so it's eligible for this year. And I'm thinking, oh man, that's such a great game. That's like too bad, because really the games that came out this year are just like on another tier in my opinion.
No,
like,
they all outstrip it by quite a bit.
100%, but it's still such an incredible game, and it's just It's just too bad. I think it did get enough attention though last year when it was coming out and everything. I think people did give it the praise it deserved, so that's fine. It's just kind of it's kind of too bad for them to not be able to.
Same thing Smash had, really. Like,
Yeah,
it came out like I said, at the Game Awards, so it didn't get much love in the coming year. But I mean, it makes
it
sense.
got some
like,
though. I'm pretty sure it did win some awards. So
I think it did, yeah. But yeah, Jedi Fallen Order really was like it was definitely one of the better games last year. But I agree. I think the games this year are just so good that it really outstrips it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'll tune in. I tune in pretty much every year.
Well, do you want to talk about the next topic?
Oh my God.
I'll just sit back and listen because I know nothing.
So, a few months ago, right? That was a while ago, I think, actually. I think that was like, I don't even know if that was during COVID. But, so I wake up, I open Twitter, and I see people talking about Nier Replicant Remaster. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then I see it, like, there's a pretty, like, kind of a teaser trailer, don't know much info. I'm excited. I mean, we all kind of knew this was happening. Like, Nier Automata was way too successful.
Wait, for people listening, and also like me, who don't know what you're talking about, Nier Replicant? Is that what you said?
Yes. So Nier Replicant is the first Nier game.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the first Nier game. Nier is a fucking complicated hole of weird naming conventions and bizarre ass lore, but I love it. It's not as bad as Kingdom Hearts. That's all you can ask for. But so yeah, first game Nier Replicant and also Nier Gestalt is the same game but with different protagonists because they thought that having an anime boy wouldn't work in the West, so they made it like an old man. But so they're remaking Nier Replicant, the Japanese
old men
version,
work.
or apparently.
Oh, nice.
Well, okay, I say remake. We're not really sure what it is. It's somewhere in between a remake and a remaster.
Uh-oh.
And also maybe something completely different. I don't trust Yoko Taro to make this just a straightforward remake is the thing. Like, they've been way too vague and weird about what this game actually is. I feel like they might do sort of the Final Fantasy VII remake thing where it's like not a one-for-one remake. Like, they're doing some weird things with the story. There's some lore and theories I won't go into because it will be meaningless to many people watching, but that could kind of support why it would be something weird and different, and I'm interested to see it. But either way, I mean, I haven't played Nier Replicant. I haven't played that original Nier game because I don't have a 360 or a PS3.
Right.
But I mean, I know the story. Like, I am very familiar with it. And so I'm super excited to actually play it for myself. And like, one of the biggest arguments against that game is that the gameplay is rough. Like, it's not great. And it seems like they are really, really taking care of that. So the gameplay looks totally different from what I saw. Like, the actual combat looks way more tight. And it looks like it has its own identity from Automata too, which I like. It's not just Automata gameplay ported into this.
Yeah, I saw just like a little clip of combat, I'll just say, and it looked neat. I didn't know what they were doing, but I was like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, no, it looks super pretty. Like, they've called it a remaster, but it doesn't look like a remaster at all. Like, it looks way better than the original. And then so I was excited before when they announced it, but it wasn't really anything like earth-shattering because we kind of knew it was happening. But with all the info that we have now, it basically is just confirming everything that I hoped would be true about it. Like, I was really hoping they'd redo the gameplay. I was really hoping they would do more than just up-res it, and it seems like they're doing that. I know they've said Yoko Taro, the director of the Drake and Nier series, he is writing new story content for it, and there's like new voice acting and new music recording and stuff. So there's going to be a significant amount of new content. Yeah, it's a similar experience for me with this game as with you with Demon's Souls, in that it's like, I haven't played it before, so it feels like a new game to me, and I'm super, super excited about it.
That's a good feeling.
But yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm so hyped about this. It looks like everything I wanted it to be.
That's awesome.
I think they brought the Platinum Games combat designer to work on it too, which is good because Platinum makes amazing combat.
Yeah, they do.
I'm so hyped. April is a great release date. That's sooner than I was expecting.
That's when it's coming out?
Yeah, April 20th.
Oh, it doesn't sound like you're that excited for it.
Yeah, I'm horrible with dates.
No, me too.
Yeah, but I'm so excited. The newest trailer they had, I watched it and teared up because the music in those games is so incredible. I watched it again and then just started fucking crying. Like it's I if the, especially like the remix of the song in that trailer is just so beautiful.
Oh,
Like
I
the
wish
song, the music in that it's it's amazing. It's
I wish I
so
saw
good.
a reaction of that.
Oh my god, it's insane. I love that series so much. I'm so excited to play it. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me.
Oh,
If
okay.
you don't know anything about Nier Automata is on Game Pass. There's no excuse not to play it,
Wait,
unless
it
that's not
is?
your thing. That's actually a fair excuse. Yeah.
Is it on for
Uh,
PC or just console?
it might just be PC, or I mean console. I mean, let
Because yeah,
me check
I was
real
like, I
quick.
feel like I would have given it a try if I knew it was on PC.
Um, let me
So I
check. Yeah,
wanted to
no,
play that.
it's only on console.
Okay, well,
Um,
I'll play it when I have my Series S.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you want to jump into the series, this is the first one in the series. Obviously, it's a good starting point.
Right.
But at the same time, all the Nier games are pretty separate from each other story wise. Like, you will definitely understand some of the reveals in, or you will. There's things about Automata that will make more sense if you know what happened in the first game. But it's a self-contained story. You don't really need to know what happened in the first. And there's like recurring characters and stuff. But yeah, you can really
Probably
jump
like
in wherever.
BioShock 2, if anyone understands what I'm talking about there.
Maybe I think even more separated though, because they take place millennia and millennia
Oh,
apart.
okay, okay.
So there's like ideas from the first that are reintroduced in there, and things will go, oh, that's cool if you know what happened in the first game. But other than that, like you will completely understand what's happening. I had no real near knowledge of Nier going in, and like when I learned later, kind of what I need to know, it was like, oh, that's really interesting, and I made it just a more. I'm just a more interesting experience, but
Hmm.
it definitely is a great self-contained experience. So I would recommend that game if you haven't played it. But anyways, I've talked enough for that game. We can move on.
Okay, well, I only had one other thing I wanted to talk about, and that was that I finally managed to get a PlayStation 5 pre-order in today.
Wow.
Yes, yay me. No, I was like, classic me. For those who don't know, I flip flop all the time when it comes to buying something that's really expensive, and
Hmm.
like I've been saving since March to be able to buy a PS5, and then finally I had
Hmm.
enough. And then the pre-order's date never appeared for like a few weeks ago, right? I had enough, and then I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't know when this pre-order date's coming. Well, I would really like a new monitor. I'd really like a,
Oh.
Stream Deck or whatever, and like looking at all these things I could buy, and I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm talking to Taylor, I'm talking to my brother. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to get this. I kind of want to get that. Maybe I don't get a PS5 because I just want Demon Souls and all this stuff. Of
Hmm.
course, then the pre-orders happened, and I was at that point where I was like, I'm not getting a PS5. It's fine. So I
Hmm.
didn't even try. And then everyone got the pre-orders. Actually, I think I went on my lunch. Just went to the EB Games near my work just to like see. I think I said, and I just went to see,
Hmm.
and I was two people behind in line, and I was like, oh, I'll just see if I can get it, just without putting too much effort in. No, that doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyways, today on my lunch, I knew that there were going to be some more stock available for pre-order today. They never gave, like, none of the retailers gave like times, but
Hmm.
last time it was at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and
Hmm.
I was watching from, I start work at 5. I was watching at 4:30. I was watching from then till every, like, on the hour. I was basically be ready like 5 minutes early, just watching in case, and had all like
Hmm.
the different Twitter like channels followed and stuff like that. Anyways, I ended up getting a hold of one on EB Games website, and it turned out I accidentally got two.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm an asshole. I'm one of the people that are taking up two, and it wasn't intentional. I don't have enough money to pay for both, so it was
Hmm.
one of these funny situations where I I basically got to the site real quick, saw the disc version available, not the digital. And I was like, damn it, I want the digital. And I said last week that I will not be buying, or I said it was last week or the week before. I was like, I am not buying the disc one, even if
Yeah.
that's the only one available. And my coworker was saying on this episode, I should have like a little clip, just be like, and here's me saying I will not do it. And then now I'm like, yeah. So anyways, I got two of them. but basically, yeah, I ended up going, well, that's the only one available. I'll buy the one with the disc slot. Went through the pages, put all my payment information in, put in my location, like for where I want it to be shipped to, all the shipment info. And then there's the button saying place order. And so I click it, there's a little loading screen, a loading thing, and then it was like, cannot process your order right now. And I'm thinking, damn, well, that makes sense. There's a ton of people on here trying to get
Oh,
the
and
systems.
you click it again.
So then I click it again. So I kept clicking it over and over.
Oh,
After
no.
a while, no, it's fine. This wasn't putting the payment through. And I was pretty sure it wasn't. And I was like, okay, so I'll just keep clicking this. And it kept saying unable to process. Then it would let me click it again. Unable to process. Eventually I clicked it and then it didn't go to unable to process. It just kept loading. And so then I was like, okay, I might have gotten through. Waited 15 minutes, a little bit more.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sitting there going, man, it's still loading. And I'm like, I only have so much lunch available, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, I've been trying this. I think it had been almost an hour and a half of just like watching the phone while trying to work at the computer at the same time. And just like, okay, is it done loading? You know, click that, you know, okay, keep working. Oh, it's done. Click that. And finally I was like, okay, 15 minutes is up. I don't know if this is just not out of stock now or what's going on. So I swipe down and I reload the page, and then I get back in line. It's like, oh, you're trying to get onto our website. You need to wait in line now. So I'm thinking, oh no, did I just fuck it up?
Yeah.
And so then I wait, and then it finally loads in, and I see the disc version of the console sold out, and my cart is empty. And I'm thinking, what just happened? I checked my email real quick, and there's no email. And I was like refreshing that. I'm like, what happened? So I go back to EB Games like website, or I still have it open, and I'm like looking, and then I see they have a disc version with 2 controllers for $100 more, and I'm like, shit. I was planning on paying like whatever it was for here. It was like $500, right? Before tax and everything. And I ended up it was like, this is gonna be like $800. Like, I can afford it, but it sucks that there goes like 3 games that I was gonna buy. So then I clicked on that one, added that to cart, go through the transactions. That one goes through no problem. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, at least I got that. I'm all excited. And then I get an email, and it shows, oh, your total came to, I think it was like $702. And I'm thinking, that's like $100 less than what my previous thing said at the end of the at my end page. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right when the console's $629 Canadian, and I got a second controller. I'm like, that shouldn't be $700. That doesn't make sense. And then 5 minutes later, I get another email. It's like, thank you for your purchase.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh no. And then that second one showed $800 or whatever, and it was showing the one with the extra controller. And I'm thinking, oh no. And I look at both of them. They both have different order IDs. They both show that they've been purchased. And I'm like, well. And I went to a few coworkers, and my one coworker, Nicholas, he was like, I'll buy the one with the 2 controllers. Just as long as you get it, I'll buy it. So now I basically pre-ordered for both of us. So it's a good story all in all, but it's just it was a fun little adventure I wanted to share today.
Yeah. No, at least you got one though. That's good.
Yeah. So you're planning on not getting a PS5 though, right? Not right away, at least.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna get a Series X. For me, like pretty much all the exclusives I'm excited about on PS5 are coming to PC. So I like Deathloop, I think, is the only one that I'm like super hyped about. Ghostwire Tokyo, I think, is interesting, and both those are now Xbox published and will be on PC. So I'm just not super like not much else about it really like catches my eye. So the Series X is definitely the more attractive option for me. But yeah, I'll try to get a pre-order at some point. I haven't been like really focusing on it because I'm not super, I don't even necessarily need one at launch, to be honest, but
like
I'll have one eventually.
Once you have games you want to play, that's when you want to have it, right? There's no reason to otherwise.
That said, there are games coming out on launch I want to play, like Scorn. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's whatever, just kind of throw it in the pile of like
I forgot that's coming out
games. Scorn, I've been excited for that game since like fucking 2016 or something. Like, I've been following the game's development for so long. I thought that game was canceled, and then they randomly showed it off at the Xbox thing, and I'm so hyped for that. I want to play that at launch, but I can also play it on my PC, I think. So I'm not like super starving. But yeah, no, that was the most wild thing seeing at the Xbox showcase. I thought that game was dead, and then it randomly came back, and then no one cared, which was unfortunate.
No,
But
I cared. I
Scorn
actually
looks,
want to
yeah,
play it, but
Scorn looks awesome.
it's one of those things where it's like somehow it gets buried in all my memories, and I just forget that that's a thing. But when I think of it, I'm totally gonna play it. Like I want
Super
to.
neat,
It's the environment, the art, the style, everything. I love that. I love Alien. Like I I think it looks awesome. Oh, I guess just looking at our playback here, I need to change our PlayStation controllers, and I guess I'll just add the extra button to the Xbox one. but yeah, like I need to change that background pretty soon. That was a little side note, but just seeing that, I was like, oh yeah, interesting. But yeah, so I guess that's good. I'll be able to cover PS5 stuff. You'll be able to tell me how the Series X is.
True,
That'll be good going forward.
We can do like a console review episode or something after a few weeks of we each have ours.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna like try to get some adult, just like flannel pajamas, and just like wrap up my PlayStation 5 in wrapping paper and open it up like it's Christmas and get a little video of that. I was also thinking about how oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. I got so excited for a second just thinking about when I get the console. No, that's what it was. Bloodborne. There's a rumor right now that it's coming to PC and PS5 as a remaster.
Wow.
And if that ends up being true, that is going to make me very happy, because I am more excited to replay Bloodborne, even if it's the old sub 30 frames a second version on my PS5. I cannot wait to play that even more than playing Demon's Souls remake. That's how excited I am to play that. And like, I do not know how my streaming setup is going to work here. I'm very close to just winging it with Wi-Fi, even though I don't want like the idea of that. But like right now, I have very little ways of getting my Ethernet cord to connect, and I really want to stream. So I might just have to suck it up and see how it goes. But I plan on, like, I want to stream games again. It's been 5 months since I've streamed, and like, just getting onto a little bit of a different topic here. Like, I want to start putting more content out than just the podcast. Like, I love our podcast, and I like that we're doing it every week. But like, I need to make my game time more worth it, you know. And I really want to play Resident Evil 8 when it comes out. So I want to play through 7 on stream, and I would like to play multiple other games. I just got my little capture device to change swap the RCA cables to HDMI, so I can play GameCube and Mario Sunshine and all that. It finally arrived, and now I can go through some of my old GameCube games. But
sweet,
yeah, I'm really wanting to do that stuff, but I'm scared that my Wi-Fi is not going to be good enough, even though the download speed and upload speed's good.
No, I stream on Wi-Fi. It's mostly fine.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to? I think we're way over time though. We should probably try to wrap it up. And do you want to talk about just what we've been playing real quick?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I've just been playing some Destiny, trying to catch up to my brother. He wants to play with me, so
nice.
Trying to get ready for the Europa DLC. I know that's the planet, but I don't remember what the DLC is called. Beyond Light. That's what it's called.
Beyond Light. That's right.
So trying to get up in power, trying to get like to a decent point where we can work together and play that. But that's all I've really been kind of playing right now. Just focusing on family right now.
That's good. Yeah. And Rocket League just went free to play. So if you don't play that, it's a good time to jump in. But because of that, I've definitely had a renewed interest in it. I played on and off constantly, but I've been playing it a lot the last few days. It's interesting. The game is kind of on fire right now, but also kind of the best it's ever been. Like the servers have been down a lot because it's had like its previous highest concurrent players like 500,000, I think, and it broke 1 million yesterday. And so it's doing crazy well. What'd you say?
Wow.
Yeah, no, sorry, my internet might be weird again. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. The community's been weirdly nice lately, I think, which I appreciate. Maybe is why I haven't burned out yet, but yeah, Rocket League's fun. If you don't play it, it's a perfect time to jump in. Um, that's about it for me, I think.
Cool. Well, that's been this week's episode of Screen Peeking. For all of you who watch or listen, thank you. You guys can listen to it on iTunes, Spotify. You can watch on YouTube on my Nickelodeon channel. Thank you for watching. Again, as always, we appreciate you guys, and we appreciate any feedback you can give us on ways we can improve. And goodbye.
Bye.